Some of you I will have Monday, will not have me, will have Mr. Matthews. So he's here to know how things are done in terms of your sanitizing, your shop coats and everything. And I told him, you're wonderful kids, you know exactly what to do, and you do things. Sorry, the wood you are using is for, yes, the wood we're doing is for you and Alex. We'll try to get it as ready as possible. So we're trying to, how do you say that? With one stone, two birds? Yes, that's it. We're trying to use one stone for two birds. I'm not into killing animals, but anyway, we were aiming for that. Kill two birds with one stone. Thank you, Matt. That's it. Yes, we don't want to kill. We just want to get wood ready. And also you guys learn the machines. So I want you to tell me, and please, let's do a yes and no. Please tell a yes and no if you watch the videos I sent you for planing and jointing. All right, we're good. We're doing well. Amy G, Amy Toe, I'm waiting for you. Did you watch the videos? John Anthony, Joshua Holmes. All right, so Zabida, your mommy maybe didn't have time. Please do watch the videos at some point. That planer is different. That joiner is slightly different, but it's good. It's good for you to watch it. The rest, everyone else did. I'm waiting for Melissa is away and Amy to no. Okay, so Amy and Zabida, please do watch it. Okay, can you please do that for me? Thank you. I wanted you guys to watch it, mostly for the students who have not been here before and didn't do any planing. So you have an idea, because you know, those who've been here before, you know it's going to be a lot of noise and it's very hard to explain. So Mr. Matthews and I were trying to figure out how to do this so you can actually see it, hear it, and know what's happening. But since you, Amy To and Zabida, do have some experience, I'm guessing you're okay, but still that video shows you stuff that because the planer is different, you will see things slightly different, and you'll have more information on it. So please do watch it at your convenience. Okay, I know you're great students. I'm not worried about you. I know you will do whatever is possible, but just try to do it as soon as possible. And now that you watched it, those who watched, most of you, 14 out of 16, does anyone have any questions about the videos or comments about the videos of the planing and jointing before we start? When I don't see anything, I'm going to assume you don't have questions. Am I okay? Am I right about that? You don't have no questions. Yes, so I'm right. So here's what we're going to be doing, and I'm bending. Is the light on the top bothering you or no? Should I change the direction or you guys are good? The light doesn't bother you. It looks fine to me. Okay, fantastic. Thank you. So we're going to get, where did I put it? We're going to get a piece of wood, which is basically rough. And we bought it from a company, so you can see that. I'm going to bring it closer so you guys can see that. Yes. So the wood is kind of rough. It's not even. It's not level. And I'm going to go back to Joshua Levitt, Gabe, Aisha, Sean, those who are working on the plane. And you had pieces ready from those boxes that you took, correct? You remember that. Those pieces were prepared and you just used them from last year. If we didn't have them, this would be an additional step we had to do before you would actually put your patterns on the wood. So we're taking this rough piece of wood, which is about 1 3/4 thickness. Now I did a imperial measurement for you, and I hope that if you're not very comfortable with it, you're doing your practices. So please do that. Take your ruler and start measuring things, and you can always email me, send me an instant message, whatever. Normally I do get back to you right away, okay? Not right away, but quite right away. So please do that. So we're taking this rough piece of wood. It looks straight rectangle, but it's actually curved a little bit here and there. And it's quite rough. And it's not the thickness we need. So we're going to take this and get it prepared, meaning we're going to shave the top and the bottom off. So it becomes nice and flat, nice and clean. We can decide the thickness that we need and cut it to that size. Now, if I need slightly smaller, I'm just going to plane it with this planer over here. Or if I need half of it, which is what Matt and Alex need, we're going to be resawing it later. So in order to prepare that, we're going to use this machine planer and this machine jointer. So what I'm going to do, that Mr. Matthews is going to put that down. I'm going to hold the, what is this thing? The groom comb up and show you inside of it. So Mr. Matthews is going to point to things, and if he might jump in any time to give you a little bit more information. You know that I like to show inside of the machine so you guys know how things work, and that means that you can keep yourself more safe. So let's see if we can do that. And you got to tell me if you can't see and it's not quite visible. Someone say something. I'm watching the chat. So tell me if this view is good enough for you. Because I'm trying to see if you can see well. So we opened up the machine. Mr. Matthews, let's take the wood out so they can see. I was just going to say, let's start with the machine down like that. Yeah, so that's what you've seen in the shop. That's your thickness planer. There's a table and this surface. The piece of wood is going to go inside here. And we're going to clean it up. And the blades are on the top. So for you to see what's happening, we're showing the inside. And we do this when there's no power. So the main power is off. We're not going to open this when we have power because it's kind of, not safe. Also, if the power is on, what we do if we have to do this thing, I'm just roll it down. You can see that. We're going to turn the power off on it. So everyone else can work, and we can just do what we have to do, and then just pull it back up so that it doesn't go on. You can see that. It doesn't turn off. So we're good. That's clear. Now, inside here, there are the main blades are right in the middle. It's a big roller, and it has 3 blades sitting on it. So that's what turns. And that's going to be turning, and there's a blade, strips of blade that will turn in a fast speed and shave off the top of the wood.
And it turns so that it's cutting towards the operator. So it's cutting against the wood going in.
But when you put the piece of wood in, the top of the wood is getting clean, not the bottom. The table is just guiding it in, and there's rollers there. I don't know if you can see them. They're rollers. These rollers don't turn on their own. These rollers are just rollers and not attached to the engine. This roller on top will be attached to the engine, and that's going to turn when the machine goes on. Now, I want you to tell me, do you see this? A couple of people say if they see it. Yes, you're good? Someone else says something.
Yeah, I can see it.
Oh, good. Thank you. As long as you
can you see this lever on the side?
You see that handle?
The handle? When it's against the machine, this roller can turn. When it's out, the roller cannot turn.
If it's off.
If the machine is off. That's what's going to pull the wood through the machine. This roller with the gear here is going to pull the wood through the machine.
So when we turn the power on, that gear should be open, just open for this to turn with the power. Otherwise, it won't turn. Right now, it just does nothing for us. So we're good here, yes? Now we adjust the height of the blade. So the distance between the blade inside here and the table is adjusted based on the thickness of the wood we have, and let's say like a small amount less. So the wood can go in, but not easily. So when it goes in, it hits the first roller. There are measurements beside here in millimeters. So, we talked about imperial, and we live in this country with imperial, but some of our measurements are in metric. So there are measurements over there. You can rely on that if you want to. But normally I put the wood in, and as soon as it hits the first roller, barely touching. So this is too loose. This is dangerous. We're not doing this. This machine in this shop, really, unless you put your hand inside there when it's turning, you're not going to get hurt. The blades you can't reach. The only way you will get hurt with this is if we don't adjust this properly and the blade is turning, shoots the wood out, and it's going to hit you really, really hard. It has hit me, so I have got stitches in my left hand, but it was something I did not quite right. The wood was, anyway, it doesn't matter. That's another story. I'm not wasting your time on that. Some of the kids know. So we need to adjust the table to bring it up. In order to bring it up, the handle is, I'm going to take this over there so you can see it. The handle Mr. Matthew is holding. Yeah, so that handle turns towards you if you're standing in front of it, and the table is slowly coming up.
Turn counterclockwise, races the table, and you keep raising the table just until the wood will no longer move with your hand. Raising it up.
I want to bring this back because I'm holding it sideways. I'm going to see any questions. Gabe, what are you saying? What is IKR? I don't understand what you're saying. Gabe? Do I need to understand that? Yeah, Matt, I'm not sure what you're saying. Like, I don't know what you mean by rip headphones. I don't really know what you're saying. Is everyone okay? Sam, you're okay. Amy, okay. What happened to Gabe? Is he okay? The mic was rubbing. Hold on, rubbing against something that making. Oh, the mic here. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Against your float, maybe.
Oh, I'm sorry. So you know what? Let me just take this off. Okay, thank you. Can you tell me if you can still hear me?
Yeah, we can still hear you.
Is this better?
We can hear you, miss.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you. I'm not going to use it. Thank you. Yeah, okay. Anyway, thank you. So we're going over here. We're not going to turn it on yet. You guys have worked here, know it's a lot of noise, and then we need to have the dust collector on it. And otherwise, you're going to have wood chips flying out. And also, we want to show you the jointer. So we're going to show you the jointer. Then we're going to, yes.
Just before we leave the planer, I've raised the bottom table just so that I can physically move the wood out. I can pull it out. Now the machine is the same dimension as the wood. Now what we need to do is turn the handle half a turn counterclockwise, raises the table up, and now it will not fit in the machine when the machine isn't running. When the machine's running, it's going to be pulled in and cut a little bit off. That's where you set it up. Set it up so that you can move the wood back and forth just barely, take the wood out, and turn it counterclockwise half a turn.
We're good?
Okay?
All right, we're going to go to the jointer and show you the jointer. Then we're going to get the power on and dust collector. If we manage to do this today, I like to do the resaw because Alex and Matt need the resaw as well. But I also want to make sure that you guys have no questions about this. And I also want to make sure that if you have any questions about your drawings, you have time to ask now. Some people did not submit their drawings. And some people I said, bring them, do something is missing. And I want to make sure I address that before we move forward. All right, let's go to the jointer. So normally jointer and planer are close together. We use them together. The jointer, this is the most important safety part of it. You want to make sure this goes back. And sometimes it doesn't. The tension here might be broken. So if you do this and it doesn't go back, you don't use it, you come and call me. We also want to make sure we have a 90-degree over here, which is something we check. We can change this angle if need be, but we don't really need to change it in this course. The concept is the same. If I bring this closer, and you can see there's a roller in here, and it's almost the same roller. The blade is almost the same blade, 3 blades in it, and that's what turns and shaves the end of the wood for us. The jointer makes less noise and it's smaller, but it's more dangerous than the planer. Because in the planer, as I said, unless you put your hand in, you're not going to get hurt. On the jointer, you can slip. And if you slip, you can get your fingers caught in that. And yeah, that's something you don't want to do. Small pieces of wood, I don't want you to do. Anything lower than the blue line here, I don't want you to do. So I don't want you to have your hand over here. Having said that, when you get a little bit better, there are ways of doing this, and and there are push sticks for it or techniques for it that you can use this machine for smaller pieces. But at this stage, I don't want anyone to do anything that is lower than the blue, and your hands are holding it tight and passing this through, standing on these anti-slip things on the floor so you won't be slipping, and passing it all the way through. There's an adjustment handle in the bottom, like you can see that. And there's some, again, this one is a millimeter. So it shows you 0 to 12 millimeters. I'm not quite sure why we have 12 millimeters. We never really used 12. I never used the 12 millimeters.
This machine is not used for it in this shop, but if you look at it carefully, you can see the edge on the table here is nice and sharp. On the edge on this table has got a jog to it. It's like 2 levels of table. And that is so that you don't know yet, but there's a thing called a rabbet joint.
Yes.
And you can make a rabbet joint on.
Oh, that's why it's
and that's
there.
why it's got such deep.
Oh, good.
So when you move this out of the way, you can put the wood fence right over here at the edge
and do that
and create a type of joint.
Oh, I see. Well, see, I didn't even know that. So I'm learning something today in the session.
That's kind of old school. There are a lot of easier ways of doing it now.
Yes, you wouldn't do it that way, did it?
Not anymore.
But it's good to know. I never even actually knew that. This is something new for me. I always learn something from Mr. Matthews. So that's really, really great. So if we have can I get the smaller one because it's less heavy, just to show them on the small one. So for us, we only need to keep the handle on about 1 millimeter or close to 0, really, because we're trying to flatten and smoothen this edge. And we're holding it down against the fence and we're passing it through. This will open, the engine is turning, and it will shave the bottom off. And you might need to do 2-3 rounds to get it flat. Then you might flip it over and do the other side. Remember, using this machine is not going to give you 2 parallel lines. And I know Matt and Alex already know that. They do one side, they go on the table saw and they shave it off. They don't spend their time on here because you can get 2 sides smooth, but you have nothing to really measure against. So they will be smooth, but not parallel. This is important to remember. Because sometimes you want a parallel cut, then you don't want to waste your time smoothing the other side. What's the point? You just want to cut it out and go. Yeah, Mr. Matthews, go on.
Add it on. Sometimes when you look down a piece of wood this way, where you're looking along the length, you see it has a bump, and then the other side will have a hollow. Always put the hollow side down. Don't put the bump side down. If you put the bump side down, it will rock, and it will always be a bump.
Yes.
If it's a hollow, it'll cut a little bit at one end and then a little bit at the other end until the 2 ends meet in the middle. Then it'll be straight.
Yeah. Any questions? Any questions? Okay, so you don't have questions, yes? And we're still connected, correct? Just want to make sure you guys are there and you actually can hear. There's no problem with the sound?
We can hear you.
Okay, good. So there's no problem with the sound. Let's see if Cole is here. Is Cole here? I want to just check. Cole is still not here. All right. All right. So we're good. So planing and jointing. Now,
Wait, Cole is here.
Cole is here? Where on earth were you? I marked you absent for a while without saying hello to me. Like, what is this? At least you could have said hello. Is this how you enter a room, not saying hello? I'm not going to let you go. I'm just going to tease you the rest of your life for not saying hello to me. My computer wouldn't start. Didn't want to interrupt. Oh, no. Cole, you're so sweet. Every time you say hello, it's not an interruption. I'm delighted that you're there. So thank you for that, being considerate. Maybe I shouldn't be yelling at you, but it's just the way I am. All right. Mr. Matthews is saying.
Can you show this?
Yeah.
Okay, when you're going to joint the edge of a piece of wood, like this edge here, the wood itself has grain that runs along the wood, and if it goes off the edge in that direction, like that, goes off the edge, if the grain goes off the edge, then when the blades turn, it will cut into the grain and rip it. So what you do is you turn the wood around the other way, so that the grain is going into the table this way, and it cuts it off smoothly. Okay, so check the grain. On this piece of wood, it doesn't matter too much because it's just about straight. But some wood, the grain really goes off on an angle, and it will chip. Okay.
Okay. A few things I told you, this is more dangerous than the planer. There's something we have to consider when we're planing or jointing something, and that's the length. So we don't put small pieces either in the jointer and planer. And basically, anything smaller than a foot, 30 centimeters, you know that. How many inches in that foot? You know that. We did it the other day. We don't put in the planer. because it's gonna, yes, thank you, 12, wonderful, Matt. It's gonna catch in the roller. Now, if we want to do those kind of things, there's always a way. We can always find ways, smart ways to do stuff in a safe way, but if we don't need to, we won't do them. On the jointer, you see this wood, do you see the grains on it? Like, is it visible or is it blurry? You see these grain lines or no? I want to see if you see it.
It's a little blurry.
But can you guess where the grain, am I holding this horizontal?
You can kind of see it.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good enough, as long as you see. So the grains are this way. I don't care about the pattern. This is a too small wood, and again, it's still doable, but I don't want you to do it. Normally with the wood, we go with this way. You never joint the end grain. This is really important. End grain, no matter how wide the wood is, it has nothing to do with the width. This could be a wider piece of wood, but shorter with end grain, lines coming this way. So if these are the grain, you can see these lines, yes or no? Mr. Matthews draws much better than I do. You see that?
Softer pencil.
You see these? Yes. Okay. So if these are the grains, you never ever go on the jointer against the grain at the end grain. The blade will go inside here and catch it, and it's going to break your piece, and you can slip and go with your fingers in.
And this last little piece of wood
it's going to just
is going to break right off.
Yeah, but it's not about the wood necessarily. It's about your safety, because when it breaks, you can slip, tilt, and your fingers go in. And another colleague of mine, his student, lost 3 fingers from that. Just went in and chewed up his fingers. He did a smaller piece of wood. So end grain, we don't. How do I flatten this? Anyone tell me? Those who've been here before. If I want a straight edge here, what would I do? I don't expect new people to say. So I want to make sure this is nice and straight. What would I do? Say something. Fence table saw, miter gauge table saw. Yes, miter gauge table saw. And what is the other option in the shop? It gives you a nice, clean cut. The chop saw. Thank you. Alex, where are you? Matt is taking all the stage. Thank you. So you do the miter gauge, table saw, you do the chop saw, no bandsaw. You just we use a saw which gives you nice clean cuts, and you use it against the fence of the chop saw, or you use the miter gauge on the table saw. If it's like this, maybe we can use the fence. So I see where you're coming from, Matt, but generally speaking, it will be a longer piece of wood, end grain, and that's going to use the miter gauge on the table saw. So we want to turn the power on and the noise on. It's going to be a lot of noise. So we really can't speak to you at those moments we're doing this. If you feel the noise is going to bother your ears, Alex, get your earmuffs. Maybe that's what you're doing. You just have your earmuffs on already. So you can turn your volume down. Dust collector will go on. You can hear us. For new people, it might not be bad. You might want to turn down your volume if you're wearing headphones. Okay, you're telling other people. Yeah, that's a good, smart thing to do. I was thinking, I can't turn down my headphone. All right, so we're going to turn the dust collector on, and we will have to stop at some point. If you had questions, please type it there. Mr. Matthews is explaining. I'm reading your chat, and I'm going to answer questions once we turn it off. Okay? Go on. Ready? Yeah, I'm ready. So guys, just tell me if you can hear me even with the dust collector.
I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I can't hear you, so you hear me, that's good. We're gonna join the corner, and we will just maybe do one side or both sides. So now you're gonna see how this is done, and I'm trying to move around so you'll have a better view of the jointing. Okay, you can turn it, then I'll move to the other side. Pretty good.
I want you to look at this, nice and smooth. I don't know if you can see it, but because I was going so fast, it's all little ripples. And if you go too fast, you get little ripples because there's only 3 blades.
So they can hear you.
I don't know. We'll find out.
All right. Okay. We don't have a dust collector. We can do a resaw without dust collector. Okay, guys, we're turning it off. We turn the dust collector off. We actually do have time to do a resaw. Okay, now we can hear me. It's better this way. All right, great, fantastic. All right, so we want to do a resaw so you can see a resaw. It's easier when I have help and Mr. Matthews is here. Also, this is a wood Alex and Matt are going to use. We turn the dust collector off so you can hear it, but in general, we want a dust collector on because we're going to create a lot of sawdust. So what the resaw does is that that piece of wood is thick. I'm going to take that. This piece of wood is thick, and Matt and Alex need a thinner piece of wood. We're going to be, these are sawed in a mill factory, and we're going to recut them smaller. So we're going to resaw them in whatever size they need from here all the way along using the bandsaw. Before we do that, I want to ask, so far with the planer, any questions about the planer? It's a yes or no. I want to see either a yes or a no, and if that was the question you have. No. Yes. What is Joshua Levitt? What is your question? Oh, no? Okay. Planer, we're good? That means we're good? I'm going to keep it as that. You change your mind, you let me know. Jointer. Any questions about the jointer? All right. Okay. Again, guys, you know, if you change your mind and something comes up, put it in the chat. I'm reading it. So we're setting this up. Mr. Matches is setting this up. Someone is typing something. I like the click of the sound that you're making. It's kind of like birds in the nature chirping. All right, we're going to turn this around. And see if you can actually see. Okay. So actually, bring it closer. So this piece of wood, your pencil is dark, I'm going to use your pencil. So this piece of wood, Mr. Matthews and I are going to cut this. Can you see this line for over there? Is this line clear?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, so we're going to cut this in the middle all the way along with the bandsaw. Now the bandsaw does not give us a clear cut. It's going to be rough. So after that, the two middle sides of these insides that are cut need to get planed again to get a smooth surface. So the bandsaw, when you cut with the bandsaw, how much do you lose? Do you remember how much you lose on a bandsaw? Amy G, 1 millimeter. Beautiful. Anyone else? A millimeter. Thank you. You lose about a millimeter. If the blade is straight and it's good condition, we lose about a millimeter. So that's why Matt and Alex need about half an inch on this, but we took a 1/3 inch wood. We plane it, so it's not 1/3 now. It's probably slightly less. It's actually 1/3. Maybe it was bigger. 1/3 divided by 2. How much is 1/3 divided by 2? Yeah, see, that's why I don't like imperial. That will be what? 1/3 divided by 2? I don't like to do that math.
7/8.
So we'll see, Mr. Matches is good. 7/8. So 7/8 is bigger than half an inch. So we're going to lose a millimeter over there. And then we're going to plane it to half an inch for Alex and Matt. So what I'm trying to say is that if you need half an inch wood, you cannot take a 1 inch wood, plane it, resaw it, and plane it again and think you have your half an inch. So you always have a little bit of things for the waste. So I remember Joshua Levitt in class said that measurements are not the most important thing in this course or in a shop environment. When I told him you're putting extra, and I said you need some for the waste. They're very important for your measuring and marking, but when you're making a list of how much material you need, you have to consider the waste that you have. So this is thicker than 2 1/2 inches together, but we need to do that so these two guys will get enough wood. We're clear here? I think if we're clear, well, I will have to move the someone is writing. I'm going to move this thing up so you can see how we're setting up the resaw. Let me see. I don't actually need a mouse. I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to bring it up for you guys. So tell me if you can see, because I'm trying to see, but there's a reflection. I'm not quite sure if you can see or I can. Tell me. Yes, you can see. Beautiful.
When you're setting up the rip fence on the bandsaw, There is a measuring device down here that is fairly accurate, but not 100%. And since you're going to be replaning it afterwards anyways, it's just an approximation. Right now, it's set at 7/8 of an inch, which is half of the wood.
Melissa, sure, I'll check my email. Thank you for letting me know. And sweetheart, I'm recording this, so if you wanted to see the recording, you just tell me in the email. I will send you the link. By the way, Josh Levitt, did you get my email with the link for the other one? Oh, good. So it was helpful? Wonderful. Thank you. So that is set up. Mr. Matthews, are you going to use any of these feather boards for it or no?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So we're just setting up. The setup takes time, and it's worth spending the time. That's the feather board. It's a magnetic feather board. Pay attention to the direction the feather board is put on. And because the blade saws off 1 millimeter, we try to use a splitter on the other side, which I normally use a tri-square on the other side. The tri-square I carry in my pocket, not all the tri-squares. This tri-square I'm trying to reach in my pocket and not drop the Chromebook. Yeah, I got it. Now, normally, like if Mr. Matches is doing and I'm working on my own, I can do this on my own. I put my hand on the other side and use the tri-square. And this time, Mr. Matches is going to do the same thing, most likely, because I'm holding the Chromebook, unless he says he needs my help because the piece is long. If you guys are doing it, I don't expect you to do it on your own. You'll have two people, one on this side, one on the other side. The other one will get the tri-square and put it inside the slot that it's happening, and you will see the slot, and help each other out. It's something that kids do to help each other out. So, Mr. Matthews, should I go on the other end or this end is better?
I was just going to say, put the Chromebook here and just show the blade.
Okay. I can actually put this.
And then we can both do it
Yeah.
the way
All right. So
they would do it as a student.
all right. So let's do it this way, and you can see it. Now they say don't put computers in a dusty environment. You know, so much for following instructions and using the material. Don't tell anyone, guys. And I'm recording it. I'm going to get in trouble. All right. Are we good? You guys can see this? This is good. You can see it, yes?
Yes,
Yeah.
we can see it.
Okay, so we're gonna go. Yeah.
I know you can't see me, but you can see basically what's
No, they
happening.
can see your
You
hand.
can see me a little bit, but you're always standing facing the fence so that you can see what's happening. Don't stand on the other side of the fence. You can't see what's happening. Unfortunately, the Chromebook is on the wrong side of the fence to really see things, but you'll be able to see how the saw goes through and what we do as far as controlling
And
it.
we have this in case we get close. And we have a push
that.
stick for the end of it.
And we have a push stick, and I know I'm going to need that, so I put it right here where I can find it without even looking for it. Okay, we're ready for noise?
Yes. Oops. Okay, so we have now two pieces cut in half. And you see the lot of sawdust inside, and the inside is slightly rough. Now, You guys, when you started working, you remember the bandsaw was not really cutting well the corners of the boxes that you were, you put the tri-squares so the wood doesn't squeeze onto the blade, right? Fantastic, Matt. Yes. It acts like a splitter that you have on a table saw, because if it squeezes the blade, it's going to thank you. You know, you're such a good help. It will act like a brake and try to stop the blade. Also, it will make your cut crooked. So it's maintaining the distance, that the gap that the blade is creating, and we're just keeping it wide open. Thank you. I love that. You remember the blade was not cutting well when you're cutting the corners of those the blocks for your lathe. It was just burning and taking forever. I would never do a resaw with that kind of blade at all. I'm just not going to do it. So the blade is now a nice, sharp new blade. We can do a resaw. You'll see no burns inside. And the line is pretty good. If we're doing a resaw and the line is coming out crooked, the blade is out of adjustment, or it's done for.
Or it's dull on one side. And
yes,
so it
something is
constantly
wrong. And then I'm just telling you this. So at some point in the course, I might tell you guys, I'm not doing a resaw now because I have to change the blade. And either I don't have time, or other people are using it. And it's good enough for small cuts, but not good enough for a resaw. So resaw, if you have a nice sharp blade, it just cuts like cheese. It's such a pleasure. Are we good?
I don't know if you can see on the screens, but you can see that this piece of wood that was once straight, it was pretty straight. Now, if you can see the gap change in shape, that's because when we cut the wood, the natural curvatures of the wood have overtaken its strength and said, okay, it's got a slight bend in it now. That's normal. That will happen, and that's the other reason why you need the splitter bar. Okay, is because the wood will change shape and really squeeze down on things if you don't use it.
Okay.
The second one?
Yeah, we're going to cut the second one just to make sure it's all set up and ready. So in terms of the lesson, we don't need it, but in terms of getting this, because it's already set up. So we're going to do it, and you can see it one more time. It's a shorter piece of wood. So
The longer.
Is it the longer?
This is the longer one.
Oh, I thought it was a shorter one. All right. Okay, so we're going to go, guys. Get ready.
Now, you notice that when I got close to the blade, my fingers never were really in front of the blade close. They were off to the side. And as I got close, I moved my left hand away to show you. You move your left hand away, and at some point, you can take your left hand and put it around the other side of the blade to pull it out. You never push right up to the blade, and you see how this is all chewed up. Try not to get it chewed up too much more by pushing it through the blade.
Get another slice spread. Okay. Anything else we should add? We're good.
I think we're good.
Yes. Okay, guys, we're good with the resaw. We're not gonna plane it now, even though it needs to get planed to get to the right thickness. But we're not gonna do it because obviously you know how the planing is gonna happen, and I want to make sure that I answer questions. So planer, you said you have no questions. If you change your mind, say something. Jointer, you said no questions. If you change your mind, say something. Yes.
And one other thing, because people are generally using the bandsaw for smaller things than resawing, when you finish resawing, move the fence out of the way and lower the blade down so that less is exposed, so the next person has to adjust it. Instead of having the blade way up in the air and then somebody coming along and say, oh, I'm not going to bother adjusting it, and the blade is too exposed, and we have an accident.
Right.
And put the
Magnetic fence.
featherboard,
yes.
back where it belongs. Then the next person is ready.
Okay. Any questions about resawing now?